So when it comes to citrus fragrances, the note itself doesn't last a very long time. I'm sure everybody knows that. They're very volatile, they're very diffusive, and they last maybe what, 10-15 minutes, and then the fragrance evolves into the hard note, so on and so forth. Well, there are 10 fragrances that are citrus based that in my opinion last a very, very long time. It seems like the citrus is going on for hours and hours. I'm excited to share my list with you, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I tell you about these 10 incredibly long-lasting citrus fragrances, some of the best, longest-lasting citrus fragrances that money can buy, I do want to start things off by saying that if you're a fan of fragrance-related content, reviews, top 10s, giveaways, unboxings, and more, please be sure to support the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell icon and click where it says enable all notifications by clicking on that little sentence there so that you can be notified whenever I do upload these videos, and I upload on a daily basis. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you took something of value from today's episode. I also want to mention that most of these fragrances can be found on scentsplit.com. I'm going to leave all of the links down below. Not all of them though. I wanted to keep this list honest and true to what I have in my collection and the fragrances that I personally feel as though last a very long time on my skin when it comes to the citrus. When we're talking about citrus fragrances, we're talking about bergamot, grapefruit, lemon, orange blossom, neroli, petitgrain, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and start things off with one by Parfums. This house has been around for many, many years now, and I was originally introduced to this house about 10 or 11 years ago. This one is called Yuzu Fu. Now, this is a Japanese citrus ingredient. It's very tart. It has a quirky personality about it. This stuff lasts such an incredibly long amount of time. I was so impressed by how resolute and how tenacious this yuzu ingredient actually is. And when it comes to yuzu ingredients, you normally don't get ones that are this bright and this animated. You gotta check out Yuzu Fu. I did a review on it. We also have The Key by Navitus Parfum. Now, this one was creatively directed by Buck Moore from the channel Big Beard Business. He hasn't uploaded in quite a while because he's in the process of moving homes, if I'm remembering correctly, but I look forward to his videos again when he does upload again. This one, grapefruit explosion, grapefruit and broxin. I think a touch of ginger in the opening to really freshen things up. This is an amazingly long-lasting citrus fragrance if grapefruit is your thing. Now, for the next fragrance here, there has been some mixed reviews, actually mostly negative. And I think that's because a lot of people don't think that this fragrance is worth the amount of money that it's worth or that it's selling for. So of course, if you want to sample it on ScentSplit, be my guest. This one by Frederick Malle is called Uncut Gem. I personally really like this fragrance. So it has this citrusy opening with this musky and broxin dry down. It also has angelica, so it's a little herbal, it's a little floral, but it has such a long lastingness about it that when I wore this 5, 6, 7 hours into the fragrance, it felt like I just applied it. To me, this actually reminds me of Nio by Xerjoff. It reminds me of a few other fragrances I have in my collection. And I think in terms of the specific notes being used, people can't imagine why this would cost almost $500, but the performance on my skin is great. And the citrus feels like it's lasting a very long time. So for me personally, I bought it, right? I spent my money on it and I bought it for almost $500, and I personally really like it, but I can see the criticism, and I think in many cases it is valid. A lot of people have a hard time justifying that much money. Of course, we also have one by BDK Parfum. My label is coming off a little bit. I wonder why. This one is called Citrus Riviera. So this one is a great sort of aromatic citrus fragrance. It has a little bit of raspberry in here, or strawberry rather. So it's a little fruity, but it's very citrusy. And you also kind of have like this fresh ambroxan, ambergris, driftwood thing kind of happening in here as well. So it has that freshness lingering well into the dry down of the fragrance. If you're looking for the best bergamot fragrance on the market, you got to go with Nio by Xerjoff. Also very expensive. I have a 50 ml bottle here in front of me. This one is an amazingly long-lasting aromatic bergamot fragrance, very realistic. And that's another thing I love about these fragrances too. This really smells like yuzu. This really smells like grapefruit. This really smells like bergamot. So you're gonna get a true interpretation of these notes. We also have Creed's Viking Cologne. So this one has a bunch of citrus in the opening, and then you also have some fresh floral ingredients in the heart. It has a little bit of that mossy, minty quality from the original, but it also has that bright, fresh, citrusy and lemony, orangey vibe as you would get in Terre d'Hermes. So it kind of is a hybrid of the original Viking and Terre d'Hermes. Another one that I purchased, and I think it's worth the money if you are a fan of that style of fragrances. Speaking of Terre d'Hermes, there's another fragrance that lasts perhaps a little bit longer than Viking Cologne, and it's called Oligarch by Roja Oligarch. This is super high quality. In terms of the ingredients, it has that long-lasting, woodsy, citrusy vibe. So this one doesn't have as much of an emphasis on the mint. This is more woodsy. So if you want something brighter, I would go with Viking Cologne. If you want something longer lasting, but with more of an evolution, I would go with Oligarch by Roja Oligarch. The next fragrance is just a long-lasting fragrance, period. Anything you buy from this brand is going to last such a long time, not just in terms of the citrus, but in terms of all of the ingredients in here. This one is Reflection for Men by Amouage. This one, you have the neroli, you have some spicy components, you have a peppery vibe. Such an amazing composition by Lucas Suzak. He did a brilliant job on Reflection for Men. And then we also have a fragrance that has birch in addition to the citrus. So it's fresh, and for this one, perhaps the citrus is not the longest lived ingredient in the composition, but the fragrance itself lasts a very long time. By Blackcliff, this one is called Limewood. So this is a really interesting lime-based fragrance, and it does have a little bit of oak, does have some green ingredients, there's an earthiness about it, but it also has birch. So it's a very interesting contrast between the dark and the bright, and you have enough of both to make it a really bold and charismatic fragrance. And the fragrance that I decided to put in the #1 spot is a fragrance with which I've had tons of experience. The citrus in here is super long lasting. This also has mint, so it's kind of along the same lines of like a Viking Cologne, but this one is more realistic when it comes to the citrus. When you look at the note breakdown, it has pretty much every citrus ingredient you can imagine. This is also one of the most expensive fragrances on this entire list. It's a really high quality, natural, citrusy, minty fragrance composed by Antonio Visconti from the Italian brand Royal Crown. This one is called Celebration. This is magnificent, it's opulent, it's regal, it's classy, it's refined, distinguished, super long lasting, one of the most mass appealing DNAs that I've encountered. If you are a citrus lover, you better put this at the very tippy top of your list. Celebration by Royal Crown is a great, versatile, office-friendly scent. You can wear it to work, night out, casually, suit and tie, no matter what the occasion. Of course, with the money that you're going to pay for it, it seems more like a suit and tie fragrance, but you're going to smell amazing when you wear it, no matter what the season, no matter what the occasion. Love wearing this one in the summertime, but you know what? If I'm indoors, I don't care. I wear whatever I want. Thank you so much for watching 10 of the best, longest lasting citrus fragrances that money can buy. Just so happened that they're all niche. Maybe I'll do a designer version as well, but I gotta be honest, in designer fragrances, the citrus doesn't really last as long, but in any case, I'm up for the challenge. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it, hit the bell, give it a like. Thank you all so much for watching. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.